Hey, on today's show, we've got a little bit about mental health and some of the things that happened this weekend, so let's get into it. It's Birdman time for the Arizona White Mountain Podcast, hanging out here in the studio and the Community Shout. I've got with me, starting off this morning, Allison Hephner. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Cool, so you've got a guest that you brought along to talk about some things. What do you got?
Yes, so I wanted to talk about mental health in children. And so I brought Nicole with me here that we'll move into, transition to her in a second, but I kind of want to give a brief update of what we're doing to address the mental health crisis in our youth in Navajo County. So I'm part of an organization, a group of individuals called Community Council on Mental Health. And what we do is we come together and we have different partners throughout Navajo County. Navajo County Public Health is a partner, Summit Healthcare is a partner. We have Change Point, and oh gosh, there's too many to mention everybody. But what we do is we come together and we discuss the issues. And one of the biggest issues we saw as our COVID cases were affecting our older population, our mental health cases was really skyrocketing in our younger population. And we were already 3 times the national suicide rate, and some of the numbers that have been not completely, they're unofficial at this time, we're almost 8 times the national rate for suicide in our younger generation. Now, unofficially, we have to wait until they come in and say yes and stamp of approval. So what we've done to try and mitigate that is we've come together to bring resources and tools for schools and connecting with children through the schools. So hopefully next year we'll be able to be in there, and we start with a class called Stress Management Resiliency Training. And it's a 2-day event, but the first night is with the parents, and it informs the parents on what stress is. I don't think kids understand what stress is.
Of course they don't.
Yeah, they don't understand the stress. You know, they're getting bullied. One of the teachers, or actually a counselor, told me the other day. She said that every fight that's happened before school has been because they hadn't eaten.
Oh wow, yeah.
One person in that, or both, have not eaten breakfast. That just makes you think a little bit, you know, because there is a lot of stressor, especially being a food desert. And so when they are feeling anxiety, they don't attribute that to stress. They just think, oh, it's because I have too much schoolwork. And we've heard that before in these children. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that they understand how to identify stress and then give them the tools to support that. So the first thing is we talk to the parents, and then the next day it's an assembly and we talk to the entire school. And that's kind of an intro into mental health. And then from there, I just went to a training with my daughter, our daughter, called Creating Safe Spaces. This was created by Becky Montoya at Blue Ridge School. She's a counselor there. And what it does is it creates peers within the youth. And so it's identifying how to not assume for other individuals. So it reduces that bullying. It helps to be more compassionate towards your school members and realize what's going on. It was phenomenal.
Awesome.
Yeah, Audrey, our daughter, learned a lot, and I asked her, and she goes, I learned not to assume and to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, or at least give them the space to understand that maybe the reason they're bullying me, or maybe the reason that there's an issue, is because of something that's happening at home, or something, you know, that's happening to them in the community. And then it talked about social interaction. Then everybody's different. Just because we can sit down and have a conversation doesn't mean that, you know, if we don't have a conversation that you don't like me, or maybe that's like, you know, you're the way that you are, and people interact differently. So I thought it was brilliant. So anyways, we want to get that into the schools to create this peer-to-peer atmosphere. So first, understanding what stress is and the tools to address it in yourself, and then being that peer to somebody else, which also helps you with yourself as a child and reduces stigma and mental health. And then finally, we want to start increasing our mental health first aid, and we're partnering with Navajo County Public Health, a family resiliency place, and then Change Point to increase mental health first aid in our teachers and trusted adults. So after that, I met Nicole at a women's retreat, which was awesome. Yes. And what was crazy about this is Nicole had already been working on some mental health issues in your family.
Yes, with my daughter.
Yes.
With your daughter?
Yep.
Yeah.
through oils.
Yes, aromatherapy.
Yes.
And it's important to understand that mental health is part of health. So, like we deal with, and we don't say, oh, we were dealing with some cuts on our fingers, or we were dealing with a kid fell down the steps and hurt his head, or we do that all the time, and people don't think about it. When you say, oh, I'm dealing with some mental health, they're like, oh, well, something's wrong. No, it's just normal.
So what really connected me to Nicole, which I haven't seen before, is I have a lot of friends out there that do oils, but it's more of an MLM. So they're not, they don't have the education, the background Nicole does. Yes. So talk about your education and your background a little bit in that.
So I spent, so I got into oils. My husband's PTSD needed a way to help him. And then my daughter she had my stepdaughter, some childhood trauma that we needed to address, that therapy, and we were not taking the medication route. So I got into oils thinking, hey, I've heard a lot about it, let's try it. Got into herbs and all that, and then the VA assisted me to go to school. I spent my first year in school getting a diploma as a master aromatherapist, and then I spent 2.5 years after that getting my bachelor's in integrative health sciences.
Wow.
And I'm currently working on my master's in integrative health sciences focusing on aromatherapy. So, yeah, I don't do MLM. She knows her stuff. I really believe in aromatherapy and everything. So
Cool.
That's what I do. And for me, mental health is, when looking at, your physical, your mental, your spiritual, what holistic focus is on, to me, mental health is the most important. It is the foundation of everything, because if you're not aware of what's going on with you, if you're not mentally, emotionally stable, nothing else is going to fall into place.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with my husband, and more importantly, I've seen that with my daughter, who suffers from anxiety, depression, had some suicide attempts in the past, and we've been able to course correct and work on self-awareness and see a big change. I mean, she's just a little social butterfly now.
Yeah.
Crazy little one, but she's happy, and it works, and I believe in it.
Yeah, and I think people need to understand that mental health care is about care. It's not about you're broke. It's literally,
Yes.
You have to have mental health care. You have to maintain a vehicle. You have to maintain your physical. All this is part of just working. So the stigmatisms that have been placed upon mental health have caused more damage than anything, I think, when it comes to mental health understanding.
And one of the things at the women's retreat we were at, which was phenomenal, by the way, I was really excited to meet you there. They had, she came out and she brought all these smells, and you would smell stuff, and I learned that one of them actually reduces the cortisol level, and that's our daughter. She has a very high cortisol level and goes to fight and flight, and I was like, you know what? I trust your background. I'm going to give it a shot. And so I was able to get that oil. And the cool thing about you is she creates the oils with you, so you can. It's something that you can smell and it's not killing you.
Right.
Don't worry, I didn't get patchouli.
Thank you.
I recommended it. I was like, maybe you should.
And I'm like, no.
No.
So, but what was neat about that is I remember leaving the house one day, and I'm like, that's a different smell, because I'm not used to the smell yet.
Yeah.
And so I asked our daughter, I said, Audrey, do you use it? And she goes, yeah, a lot, Mom, it works. And it's working for her, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's working for her to calm her down and reduce that fight or flight. So when you came to me about this event, I was like, we need to get on the show and we need to talk about this, because we need to connect the tools.
So the event.
Okay, so like I said, mental health and especially youth, it's a huge importance to me. So after speaking with Allie, and I know that mental health is huge across America, and it's really, really affecting our youth. And to find out that up here it's such a problem, it was crazy to me. And when I brought it up to my daughter afterwards, she's like, well, yeah, I have a lot of friends with problems. And I was like, what? So we got to talking, and I put together a workshop. It is July 24th, and it's supporting youth anxiety with aromatherapy and other holistic tools.
Oh, awesome.
And it's not to say that, getting Western medicine, getting the behavioral therapy, and if you use prescription, it's not saying don't do that or that doesn't work. It's additions that you can make to your lifestyle and your children's lifestyle that help, and it gives them the tools that they need to feel in control. That, I'm having a moment of really bad anxiety. Well, let me, with your daughter, I hope it's good. How she
Oh, yeah.
Let me get my oils, let me get, the tools I have, and let me gain control of my life.
Cool.
Well, and then it gives me an opportunity when I smell it now. I'm like, oh, she's having a little harder day today.
Yeah,
So is there a cost or how do people get signed up?
So,
Or what's that?
Okay, this is my first workshop ever, so I'm hoping it runs smoothly. I'm super excited and nervous, but it is $50. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop. It is hands-on. So every child, it's $50 a child, and a parent does have to accompany them, obviously. They will get to make an aromatherapy blend that resonates with them, the oils, the scents that they like, for uplifting, calming, you know, and obviously I'll make suggestions.
Yeah.
And an aromatherapy necklace. I'm going to have a couple different kinds they can choose from so that they can utilize it. I'm also going to have a journaling workbook that we're going to start out with that, like you said, you know, learning the triggers and everything. We're going to talk about trigger management, stress management, positivity, the impact of journaling for children, and just little signs that they can work on and look for to help them gain awareness of why am I anxious,
Right.
you know, what's causing it. So we're going to do that. It's very interactive. 2 hours, I'm going to provide snacks and beverages, but I am asking our businesses in the area to sponsor a child. I want to offer this maybe parents who feel like it could benefit their kids but can't afford it.
Yeah.
So I'm asking small businesses to sponsor a child, $50,
Okay.
and yeah.
That's good.
How many kids?
10 kids.
10
It is
kids.
limited. I
Okay,
want
and
it
it's
to be.
just a cost for the kids, right? The parents don't have to pay. as
No,
well.
they just have
Okay.
to accompany.
Okay, awesome. And how do they get? There's a website or a Facebook page?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Earthly Essentials by Nicole.
Okay.
And under events, it's there. That's probably the easiest way. And then it links to my website where the event is there and tickets can be purchased that way. But
Awesome.
if somebody wants to sponsor, I'd love to reach out, have them reach out to me, talk
Okay.
with them, and make sure
We'll
it's a
put
fit.
the links down below and contact you.
It's going to be at the Senior Center in
Yes.
Shiloh.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Okay, so that's
you.
the date, the time, what the cost is, and you can find it then online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
today. Okay, so hey, this weekend was hanging around Pinetop Lakeside, started up in Lakeside with the truck stop. And remember, on Thursdays, they open on Thursdays. They've got karaoke, as the girls told you, on Tuesday during Mountain Talk. Also, a lot of bands going on there, a lot of fun. They've got probably the largest marketplace of all the marketplaces that are going on up here, probably 40 vendors, bunch of stuff going on. They're open on Saturdays and on Sunday as well. I don't think it's as much on Sunday as there are on Saturday, but they're building more of the little shops as well. All of that's going on during the weekends as well when they're open. So go check out the truck stop. They're fully open. Finally, we're out of the COVID situations and all that's done and gone. Then was hanging out and checked out it wasn't the beginning of the summer concert series, but it was sort of like the kickoff to summer at the Lion's Den in the backyard. They had Johnny Anonymous there, a lot of fun, giving us a little precursor of what's coming with the Black Moods concert, which is going to be on the 26th. Of course, during the Balloon Fest, we'll start with Mogollon at the kickoff party Friday night, and then Saturday night I'll be over. There'll be, of course, concerts going on with the Balloon Fest, but also over at the Lion's Den. It's going to be a feature-packed weekend, that final weekend of June. So just stay tuned and have fun, and we'll be reporting what's going on here in the Arizona White Mountains. Hey, that's going to be it for this week's Community Shout here in the Arizona White Mountains podcast. Make sure you're tagging everything out there on Instagram and Facebook. It's hashtag AZWM and hashtag Arizona's White Mountains. And you know what? Throw in hashtag Visit Pinetop Lakeside as well if you're up in the area. I'm Birdman, reminding you if I don't see you around town, I'll catch you right here on the web. It's a wrap.